Yes, everybody, Ross on the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well. I am in the office today, and it is time for your world famous Hammers headlines and association. AUMB.com, boys. All good stuff in the hood. Anton spoke with Dan from however, they're getting the acronym right, HLTCO, the Crystal Palace fan. Dan, you'd have seen him very prominent on social media, talking about West Ham and the preview ahead of the game on Saturday, which will be, as we said this morning, a critical game for Mr. Potter. And we had the David Moyes, fucking hell, move on, Russ, just move on. Uh, we had the Graham Potter press conference synopsis earlier today as well. So busy day. And tonight, hopefully, we should have an ex-Hammer My Hammer 11, former West Ham player Jordan Brown will be on the channel talking about his time at West Ham and going through his starting 11 for his My Hammers 11. So keep an eye on that. But it is the world famous Hammers Headlines Association with 𝗙𝗢𝗥 almost forgot them. Never forget him. 25 years, over 25 years in the business, and still haven't forgot. I just realised I'm wearing a West Ham sort of coloured Gant shirt. Even when I'm at work, I'm still representing. Let's talk. Let's start with managers. Now, obviously, someone will be speaking about this morning about, supposedly the Crystal Palace game is the last chance saloon for Graham Potter, with a number of managers being sort of lined up, and an interesting name has emerged. Well, we'll talk about one of them is interesting, one of them is not so interesting. Honestly, according to Talk Sport, it has claimed that Slaven. I pressed the wrong button. Oh, Anton's gonna screw me. There we go. Slaven Bilic is potentially in line for a West Ham return. According to the article in TalkSport, it says that David Sullivan is considering turning to the former West Ham boss to rescue the Hammers from the slump. The article says that he'd be a popular appointment with West Ham supporters after becoming a fan's favourite as a player and leading them to a 7th place finish during his first spell in the dugout. No mention about what happened in season 2, in all honesty. But it is quite an interesting one in terms of Slaven. There's obviously parallels to David Moyes. He had one spell and then came back for a second spell. Now, exclusively, according to the West Ham Network, an exclusive on this, he has, from my sources, he has, what's the way to describe it? He is a contender for the position if it becomes available. That was the worded response I got from my very close source to the Bilic camp. Now, of course, he's going to be in contender. Of course, he's going to put his name in the hat. There's still a passion for West Ham, a desire from West Ham, from Slav. Is he the right man for the job? I think that's up for debate. He had a great first season. The second season wasn't so great. Obviously, that was on the backdrop of the migration from Upton Park to the stadium. It was also on the backdrop of a very quality over quantity sort of transfer budget as well. So, personally, I think if a decision is made, I could see him coming in as an interim boss to steady the ship, and then at the end, very similar to when David Moyes first came in, and then it was like, okay, well, if we stay up, then there's that may be an option rather than going in all guns blazing and offering him a 2.5-year deal. Of course, we still have a head coach, and the head coach may well win on Saturday, and the option is, well, a pin is put in it until the next time we're told that he's got one game from staying in the club. But it is true, he will put his name in the hat, and would be open to the offer. Exclusive from the West Ham Network. You're welcome. Another name that's been linked is Sean Dyche. And this one I think everyone probably assumed would be linked. We've spoken about Roger Schmidt as well. Obviously, the list of names is dwindling. If the club decide to make a move, but again, I would see this being a similar role to maybe that Slaven role. In he wouldn't come in and offer him a 2.5-year deal. I think, you know, we've had our feet burnt with that before. So for me, it would be coming in, if he would, as maybe as a firefighter, and then, but I hope we don't get to this point. And by that, I mean, we win a few games and we start making our way up the table and seeing some decent football from Potter's side and stuff. But it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? It's the hope that kills you. But as I said, I don't have any, I don't know who has any, I'm sure Sean will be up for it anyway. Famously, obviously, we were one game away from probably having Sean Dyche as a manager when we played Everton. It was David Moyes versus Lampard, and it was actually called the Sean Dyche Derby, in that the manager who lost would have got sacked and Sean Dyche would have come in. Obviously, we won the game. Lampard got sacked and Sean came in to be Everton boss for a period of time. But regardless of who is in the dugout, it looks like we're starting to formulate some plans for the January transfer window. Yes, I know the summer one has only been closed for 18 days or so, but it does seem that there's some names already looking in terms of bringing in. One is a striker. So this is probably bollocks then. But according to global journalist Pedro Rocha, and later confirmed and detailed by RTI Esporte, West Ham are keeping a close eye on 𝗕𝗫𝗟𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗡, who's apparently one of the standout players in the Brazilian football league, in the Brazilian Serie A this season. And West Ham did make inquiries. I mean, I remember this. He was definitely on the list. They made inquiries about his current situation at Cruzeiro towards the end of the summer transfer window, and even indicated a willingness to pay apparently 25 million euros, which is about 21.5 million quid. It was only a matter of time before European clubs started turning their attentions back to Jorge, to be honest. He's 23, and he's had a spectacular campaign this season with 15 goals and 5 assists in 22 appearances. 20 goal involvements in 22 appearances. That's not too shabby, Alonso. And also he has had a recent call-up by the Brazilian national side, managed by Carlo Ancelotti, where he made an appearance against Chile and Macarena. Maracana, not Macarena. Fucking idiot, right? And that's only added to his reputation. So don't be surprised if we have a look at him in the summer, in January. It's always easier with buying Brazilian players, I find, in the January transfer window, because the way the season works in the Brazilian Serie A tends to go more calendar year, by the calendar years. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting what happens in the dugout and also on the playing field, but also in the dugout in the next sort of 2 weeks. As they go and watch Anton's video with Dan from HLTCO. Really great video, really interesting, and obviously I find Dan really engaging and just a good football fan, regardless of the fact he's a Crystal Palace fan. I find him very level-headed, and I agree with a lot of things he says. So go and check that out. And also don't forget to check out needsmamabrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opiniones. I'll see you a bit later. I'll see you on the flippity flop. Hope you see tonight with Jordan Brown just confirming he's okay to do it, but that should happen later on. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace out.